Welcome back to another cooking episode with Lord Rick, aka AngelOfThyNight, and you're founder of the Paranormal Ghost Society. If you know anything about paranormal investigators, you know that we love to eat. And I'm going to show you a very simple meal that you can cook for your kids or before a big paranormal investigation. Let's say you got to get up 5 in the morning to hike in the Sierras looking for Bigfoot. Let's say you want to cook a quick and easy meal the night before. You can do this. Like I cook a lot of homemade things, but sometimes I make things that are real simple and easy to put together, and then I spice them up a little. And I'm gonna show you what I mean. Okay. You take 2 cans of corn. What you want to do is you want to pour them in here. And of course, make sure you put a lot. You don't have to put a lot of salt, but put enough salt in there, along with a little bit of pepper, just to give it a little flavor. You don't want your corn not to have any taste. And what I normally do is I take butter. This is butter with calcium. It's very healthy for the kids, a lot better than just using regular fatty butter. And you want to put a lot of butter in here. Put a couple scoops. You're going to want to turn it on about an 8, which is almost on full high. 10's full high. You turn around. Get that butter on the bottom. There you go. Mix the salt and pepper around. You can see, get a good mixture going. You're going to want to caramelize the corn. So you want to cook it on about an 8 or 9 with the butter for about a half hour. And then what you're going to do is sometimes I make my own potatoes, or I make these applewood smoked bacon. And it has real cheese, but you could actually add cheese. It's supposed to add water. I add milk, and I'll show you in a second. But what you want to do, now see, these are pork steaks. And you can marinate your pork overnight. I sometimes do, and I'll definitely do an episode on marinades, but this is what you see here. And what you do, you heat the oven on, 425, and for about a half hour you're going to cook these. These are very thin pieces of pork, so you only need about a half hour for them to cook. Spray oil. There's some rub. This is pork grill rub seasoning. It's chili, pepper, spices, herbs, brown sugar, garlic, salt, onion, even apple cider. So it has a lot of flavoring. And you can buy different rubs at the grocery store. Just you want to sprinkle your pan so that this sticks. Oh, definitely. You want to kind of bake it on a little. Let's see if you guys can see this a little better. No, you definitely cannot see, so I'm going to move the pan out of the way. I want to get it kind of far away. Anyway, we've got our corn cooking. The butter's starting to melt. And what you want to do is you want to lay each pork steak out. In this case, I have about 10 of them. And you can take the rub, and what you're going to want to do is, I'll show you in a second. But you want to lay them all out on an open, flat pan. Now, 425 is good enough because you want them to be crispy on the edges, but you don't want the meat to not be cooked thorough because you can get very sick with pork. Or, chicken, same thing with chicken and stuff. So you have to kind of be careful that you cook your pork thorough, just with any kind of meat. I know this is real classic, huh? I should be out there looking for Bigfoot or paranormal investigating. Instead, I'm cooking steaks, but we're getting ready to relocate. We're going to stay in the same area, but we're going to relocate to a new area. And so future cooking shows will probably be in another kitchen. But you're going to take tenderizer, sprinkle it gently on top. It tenderizes the meat, makes it much more tender. It also adds flavoring. Then you want to take your rub and gently sprinkle that on top. Keep in mind, all this is about flavor. You want flavorful pork. Take a little oil, spray the top, give that little vegetable oil, gives it flavoring. Onion powder, very gently, spread it evenly across. Garlic powder, all about flavoring. You want to flavor your stuff really good. Pepper, because Tammy likes to look at me when making videos for YouTube. Anyways, you put a lot of pepper because you want them to kind of be spicy. You want zing. And this rub I have has chili in it. Chili seasoning, so it's going to have a lot of zing. And then what you do, it's a rub, so you just want to press the rub down into the meat like this. Just press. That way the flavoring gets absorbed into the meat, so when you cook it, you have a very vibrant taste throughout. I should be on the Cooking Network, don't you guys think? I could like show off my tattoos, be like, yeah. But anyways, this is going to go in the oven. And if you can put it closer to the flame or the broiler, it's better so the ends get a little crispy. And you know it's done when this turns from pinkish red to a full white meat. And of course, you know, there's a little fat on this, but it'll burn off on the edges. It'll get crispy. And so now we have our spicy pork steaks, or you can call them kind of chili pepper pork steaks. They're ready to go in the oven. Top shelf. And we'll put it on for about, like I said, I go from anywhere from 30 minutes to about 35 minutes. Okay? And I'm going to switch burners here. And use this back burner for making the mashed potatoes. And of course your butter starts to melt. You can kind of see it's very liquidy right now. See? And that's what you get. But what you want to do is you want to cook this an entire half hour, because the butter will actually boil and caramelize the corn. And the corn will have a really sweet, nice taste to it. So we got our corn going on. And then we're going to do our potatoes. Which, the potatoes is very simple. It says add 2 cups for each package. And what I do is I take a scoop of butter. The rest I got to save for a chicken recipe I'm going to do for you guys. And the chicken recipe, I got an awesome chicken recipe, and you can make whole chickens with it. And I will show you how to do that, but it calls for butter, so I got to save some for that chicken. And what you do is it calls for, now check this out, it calls for, this is 1.5 cups. I'm going to put 3 cups of water and a cup of milk. Adding milk and butter really makes the potatoes much better than, you know, otherwise they're generic unless you can doctor them up. And now keep in mind, this is just a simple meal you make for your kids. It feeds the whole family. It's a very cheap meal. Between the pork steaks, the corn, and the potatoes, $8. $8. Now I'm knocking all kinds of stuff over it. Getting all excited for the pork. Now sometimes I cook the pork steaks on the grill. I love to cook on the grill. And you can do it on the grill if you want. That's an option. I just don't have no propane, and I could set up a camera outside and do it too. But we'll do about a cup of milk. This is exactly 1 cup. Throw it in. Put it on the burner. you don't want your potatoes to be dry, so put the burner on about 3 or 4, so that in a half hour when it gets ready to boil, you add the potatoes to it, and they'll come out very moist. They won't come out dry. And so right now the corn's boiling. You want it to boil. That's how it caramelizes. Pardon me, the buzzer just gone off. But anyways, that's how it caramelizes. The butter will eventually evaporate, but a lot of it will be absorbed into the corn. What you also want to do with your potatoes, Rascal, please go. My dog's picking up all the things that I drop. Put a little pepper into the mashed potatoes. We're out of pepper, but that's okay. And then what you'll want to do is you want to put a little salt in there. Like I said, there's nothing worse in the world than going to someone's house to eat and there's no flavor to the food. So it's always good to put a little bit of dash of salt in, a dash of pepper. If they're garlic potatoes, you can take minced garlic and throw it in. I'm going to show you how to make garlic chicken in a couple days. And what we're going to want to do is turn the caramelized corn down to about a 7 for about 20 minutes. I had about 8.5, but I want the boiling to slow down. It'll eventually, no lid, just let it evaporate so that way your corn's real tasty. And the potatoes right now, I got on medium, so by the time the water boils, I throw the potatoes in, I pull the pork out, and everything's done. It's simple. And this is Simple Meals Made Easy with Lord Rick. And I'll be back, and I will show you guys what it looks like on a plate. I'll show you the final results. You'll be amazed. A meal for about $8 feeds my girlfriend, my kids, and me, and even some for both my dogs. So it's a really simple, easy thing. And you could always use fresh corn on the cob, or you could cut up potatoes and mix it with some milk and butter and whip it and make homemade potatoes. You don't have to use, things out of a can or a box. But as far as the pork steaks go, if you do them exactly how I tell you to do them, they will come out fabuloso. So this is Lord Rick. I'll be back in about 20 minutes with some hearty pork chops. And who knows, maybe even a little paranormal. But definitely good meal for paranormal investigators before the big night out looking for Sasquatch. And you eat some pork, you eat some carbohydrates and some corn, and you'll be pumped, man. You'll be ready to climb Job's Peak. Anyways, peace. We'll be back soon. Okay, half hour's passed. The pork is done. The corn's caramelized, and the potatoes look beautiful. And your pork chops, since it's got a chili powder mix, they're going to look like this. And yeah, when you cut them open in the center, it'll be white meat, but the tenderizer, the chili powder and rub gives it a red look. And what you have is spicy pork chops. And I'll show you what I mean by caramelized. You can kind of see the corn's discolored. Some kernels are real bright yellow, others have absorbed the butter, and it's got a very caramel texture. And then we got our mashed potatoes. And see, they're just the perfect thickness. They're not too thick or too watery. Perfect potatoes. These are Applewood bacon mashed potatoes, so there's bacon bits inside. You can also add some bacon bits for a little bit more flavor. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fix a plate. And I'm just going to show you how it looks on the plate for the finishing touch. And of course you can always tell this is done because, like I say, when you chop it in half, the meat should be white. It should be a little crispy on the edges. You definitely don't want pork that's not fully done, like I was saying. So 425, 30 to 35 minutes. We're going to put a couple nice pieces on the plate. I'm trying to bend down because I know my head's getting cut off because I don't have the camera sitting high enough. I'm going to Next time I do a video, I'll put the camera up a little higher. Scoop in the mashed potatoes. Look how good and hearty that is. Take a little bit of caramelized corn. The kids love it. I love it. We all love it. And this is what it looks like. Meals Made Easy by Lord Rick. Doesn't that look delicious? Check out our YouTube channel, www.youtube.com, Angel of Thy, Thy, Night, Night. This is Lord Rick.